Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Top3Tech. I'm your host, Jerry Ruiz, and today we're going to be reviewing the ID COlling Se214 XT8 RGB tower cooler. I think I got that right. And we're going to see if it's good for your CPU. We're going to be testing the AMD Ryzen 5800X, the AMD Ryzen 5600X, and then this is the surprise. So let's go ahead and check it out. So let's go ahead and see what comes inside this box. We have an installation guide. Oh, that popped off. Whoa. We have the radiator or the aluminum shroud on the tower cooler. We have this fan, ID COlling. That goes on top of there. And then we got some bracket mounts and their holders as well. And that looks like that's about it. That comes in the box. Makes sense. You don't need too much. But it is $20. I don't expect a crazy presentation. Let's get a closer look at this. So if you've been following along my channel or you're sub to my channel, you will know that this is my streaming PC. I have built it with extra parts and I haven't really wanted to throw too much money at it. I brought the CPU because it was cheap. I bought the NVMe because it was cheap, and I bought the case because it was cheap. But anyways, I don't want, like I said, I don't want to throw too much money at it, so that's why I bought this tower cooler, and I'm just gonna replace the stock one for the 10400. And I figured since I'm gonna go ahead and be replacing it, I might as well go test it out with not only the 10400, but with the 5600X and the 5800X since I have it on that. And I will be comparing the 5800X with the AIO I have. It's a 360mm. I know that's not too fair. That's just bonus content pretty much. But I'll be comparing the 5600X with the stock cooler and then the Intel with the stock cooler just to see how much of a performance difference it is, if there's any, and if it's worth the $20 in case you're trying to stay on a budget. And it's just going to make it look nicer anyways. Since I already have my 5800X installed in my CPU, I'll be doing the install into the AM4 platform first. I'm going to have to take off the pump and the brackets and install the brackets, these two, onto the motherboard. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and test it out. I'm not going to completely remove this AIO. I'll probably keep that in a bag and then just plug in the fan into the AIO pump header, so just so I can keep it in, because like I said, this isn't going to be a permanent home, it's just for testing. But we're going to go ahead and do the AMD install first. So if you don't want to see the install, go ahead and skip to the next part, or if you're installing with the Intel, go ahead and skip to that part. So the first step you're going to want to do, if you already have an existing fan on there or AIO pump, you're going to want to go ahead and remove that, clean off any thermal paste you have on there. And then you're going to want to remove these two retaining brackets, and it's 4 screws, so you'll just take them off and you'll replace them with these, and they'll go like this. And you're going to want to screw the far end of this for the AM4 platform. So as you can see, I just went ahead and screwed those in real quick before installing them. But you're going to want to go ahead and, like I said, on the edge for the AM4, put that through there. You can technically skip screwing them in, but my back plate kept falling down, so that was kind of annoying, so I just figured it'd be easier if I do it this way. And then you're gonna want to make sure that this little point right here is pointing up, because that's where the tower cooler is gonna mount. But you're just gonna go ahead and screw these in. So you could skip putting them in. I'm not gonna tighten that yet. You could skip that first step I did, screwing them in so it holds. That way, if your back plate doesn't fall through, then you're fine. Just go ahead and put the red things down first. the little red sleeves down first, little mounts, and then you can go ahead and put this in. But like I said, my back plate was falling, so that is why I went ahead and did it this way. Of course, you're going to want to put your thermal paste on your CPU. You're going to remove this sticker on here, and then you will mount this on top like this. Line up this bottom screw right here. Sorry guys. This screw right here, and then on the other side of this as well. And from far away, there they are, these two. On those side little pillars, and then once those are lined in, you're just gonna tighten the left and the right one. You know that it's secure because that screw won't tighten anymore. You're gonna want to make sure that these wires are facing your motherboard, so that way when you go ahead and put this on, it'll hide the wires as best as it could. Put that aside for now. And then you're going to want to, let's see how this goes on here. You're gonna use the 4 of these, but one on each side for the front real quick. On these holes, you're gonna go ahead and put this in here. And put this right here. And then push that in. And on the side of the radiator, you're gonna want to go ahead and latch that on. I'll see if I can record the other side better. Okay, got this side on. And now, let's see if I can get a better angle this way so you guys can see exactly what I did. So you'll see that there's a little indent on the side of this. You're just going to want to go ahead and pop that in there. Same thing, just put it in the 2 screw holes and then push down. Okay, push this back in, and then it'll just slap right in there on the back of that indent, that little rivet. I'm sure you guys can see. And then you're gonna make sure to, after you do this, plug this into the, either where it says CPU fan or AIO pump or alternative, and then make sure you plug in your 5-volt 3-pin ARGB into the right header too. So this is how to install the Intel CPU bracket or tower cooler for this. I'm assuming most of you have an LGA 1700 CPU. Mine is an LGA 1200, so mine's gonna be a little bit different, but not too much. Anyways, you're gonna go ahead and grab the bag that has the standoffs. The smooth ones are the ones for the LGA 1700. The one with the little rivets or lines on it are for the LGA 1200, which I'll be using. And then the difference with the little bracket and standoff is the one on the inside, right here, is going to be for the LGA 1200, and the one on the outside is the LGA 1700. But don't confuse it with the AMD AM4 one all the way on the edge right here. So it'll be this inside one on the closest to the AM4 one. And of course, you're going to want to go ahead and remove your previous fan or cooler. This is the stock cooler. Make sure to, it's easier if you heat up your system, play a game or do a CPU benchmark, and then go ahead and take it off. But we'll be removing that first. Now that I have that stock fan removed, you'll see that there's 4 holes on the motherboard. So on the back of it, you're gonna go ahead and put this bracket. Doesn't matter whether it's the LGA 1200 or the 1700. You're gonna need it either way. You're gonna want to put it this way. These 2 holes on the bottom, these 2 holes on top. Sorry, my dog is deciding to eat right now, so that's that noise you're hearing in the background. So you'll go ahead and push that in like that, fill in the holes. So that's how it looks on the back side. For the LGA 1200, you're gonna want the smooth standoffs, and for the LGA 1700, you're gonna want the one with the little creases on it. There's a difference. And I'm trying to do this vertically so you guys can see. It'll go right there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to lay it down. But it'll go right there. I went ahead and installed the first one to show you guys as an example. Like I said, on the inside of this bracket is the 1200. That's why mine is like that. Yours is gonna wanna be on this outside part right here. Mine's on the inside, 1700 outside, 1400 inside. So that's why mine's gonna look a little different if you have a newer CPU. And then of course, you're gonna want these two outer parts to be facing outside and this flat part facing on the inside. Now my dog is playing with her toy in the background, so that's what you're probably gonna be hearing. Mamas! I know you like to play with your toys and I encourage it, but how about for 1 second chill? Well, I'd rather you guys hear my dog than my neighbors. They were getting loud too. Apparently when it's recording time, I'm trying to screw this in so I don't block you guys' view. All the noise comes out, but here we go. I'm just keeping it real with you guys as I do this, just because, why not? This is kind of, you guys get to know me personally and my life a little more, so. There you go, guys. Like I said, these brackets facing this flat line facing on the inside. And then just double check that they're tight. Don't over tighten it, but just make sure they're tight. The next thing you want to do is apply some thermal paste. I use the Arctic MX4. It does come with its own thermal paste or thermal grease, whatever they call it, but I wouldn't recommend using that just because I know this, well, it's not, I wouldn't recommend using it, but if you got your own thermal paste, I'd probably recommend that over what they include. But if you didn't buy any, then I would just go ahead and use it. A little pea-sized shape, not too much. It'll just get everywhere anyways. And then after you apply the thermal paste, you're gonna go ahead and get your tower cooler. And then these holes right here are gonna line up with these little pillars. You're gonna go ahead and line that up. Don't start screwing until you know for sure you got it. And then push down a little, whoops. Sorry, I got it like a headphone holder on this tower case, so can't push down too crazy. And it should start tightening if you got it lined up right. Yeah, see that side is. I would tighten one side a little bit and then tighten the other. Just little by little. Just that way there's equal pressure applied on each side. Sorry, I'm trying not to block the view. Look, I gotta push down a little more. Sorry, recording this and installing it is a little difficult. But see, I can see it pushing down, tighten, and just screw until you can't screw it anymore. Don't force it. Like I said, maybe go put a little bit on one side and then the other. And look, I know it's for sure it's secured. Voila. Then you're gonna grab the fan that's provided. It has these little metal holders that attaches the CPU fan, or the CPU, that attaches the 120mm fan to your CPU tower. You just go ahead, insert that in the holes, push down. Hopefully this is smooth. Make sure that the wires that you have are faced towards the motherboard. That way it can be hidden when you go ahead and install this. You're gonna wanna line up these corners to the tower corners. That way it covers the whole tower radiator or shroud. Oh, let's see that this popped off. I would also recommend doing this without the RAM and without it installed in the PC case if possible. If not, you can go ahead and install it with those things on there anyways. And then you just pull this tab back. There's a little indent on the tower in the middle. There you go. And that clips there. You'll be able to see it on this side. So remember, push these things in and then pull, sorry, it's probably blocking. And then pull this back right here on the indent. There you go. And then of course, make sure to tuck in these wires. The 4-pin, plug it into the header. And then the 3-pin, plug it into the 4-pin, plug into the CPU fan header. And the 3-pin 5-volt ARGB, plug that into that correct header as well. Or into your hub if you have one. And then tuck your wires away if possible. So I went ahead and installed the CPU fan into the right header. And I tucked in the wire a little bit. It's noticeable there, but there you go. So I tucked it in around that bracket, as you can see. Just a little pointer for you guys. I wrapped it all around, that way it's not too noticeable. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the benchmarks, but one thing I like about this case is it has a little header in the back, a little RGB hub. So I just went ahead and installed it there. You can see the wiring. But I'm gonna go ahead and go onto the benchmarks now and test out the 3 different CPUs and see how it performs. So I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty impressed by the CPU cooler. It has 4 heat pipes and a 120mm fan, so I wasn't expecting too much. But when I saw the difference between the stock cooler and this, about a 20 degree difference average temp, I thought that was pretty impressive and more than what I needed for this PC. And it was about a 6 degree average temp difference between this and the AIO, which is pretty impressive considering that is a 360mm AIO. So I think that's some great results. The main concerns with the $20 CPU tower should be performance, size, and looks. And this card does have 124mm by 72mm by 150mm dimension. It should fit in most motherboards. And since it is a little bit lifted with the heat pipes, it should clear most RAM as well. It had no problem here. And like I said, it should clear most RAM. But if you have tall RAM, maybe, I think you should be fine, honestly. So the only negative I really had about this card was that this aluminum shroud, it did bend a little right here, where it clips in, only on that one side as well. But I mean, for $20, that's not too bad, and it doesn't overall affect the performance of the tower. And you can't even see it honestly when it's in your PC case. So no harm, no foul. But I honestly think that this card is worth it for $20, especially if you're replacing a stock fan, and especially if you have a lower CPU like a 5600X or a 12400K or a 13600 400K. You know, one of those lower tier cards. There's lower tier CPUs. And by lower tier, that's nothing negative because most of these CPUs compete with the more core CPUs when gaming. So this was able to cool the 5800X, which is one of the hottest CPUs in the 5000 series lineup. So it was no joke. I definitely recommend it. I think it looks great, performs great, and it made my PC look a little better. So $20. Not too bad, especially if you're gonna save up for an AIO or something different in the long run. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully I helped you out, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. So I'm not gonna lie. 3, 2, 1. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty impressed by the performance of this card. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm not gonna lie. I was impressed by the performance of this CPU tower. It does have 4 heat pipes and 120 oh my god. And that way you don't have wires showing on your case. That got a perfect hole right there to put them in. There you go. You don't even gotta put them in the hole right away anyways, just make sure that they do line up with the motherboard. And then this, go ahead and line it up as best as you can to the cooler. Oh man. Of course this is gonna pop off. If this ends up popping off, just go ahead and go ahead and put it back in place. Like I said, it should be a little easier for you guys because recording and doing this is a little difficult. And then there's a little indent. Oh my god. Fuck it. Take 2.